Good Monday, makers. Welcome back to another episode of Maker Pipe Monday. I am joined by Jake here.
Hello, everybody. Good morning.
Hope everybody had a great weekend. We're going to check out some awesome conduit builds from the community, Maker Pipe Connect. It's a really good group. It kind of is seasonal too, because they're a little bit fall themed. We've got some great firewood racks, we've got some duck blinds, we've got a home robot assistant. You definitely want to check that out. It's pretty unique. We've got a boat cart by a longtime member of the community. So a lot of good things, a few more in there, and I know you're going to enjoy it. So we're going to go in depth on these builds and check them out. The first one we've got here is posted in the community from Mike, and Mike created this really neat firewood rack. Everybody's thinking fall fires, or if you heat your home either partially or full with wood heat, if you've got a stove inside, maybe to heat the garage, you need some firewood, right? So Mike made this firewood rack, and he saw it online somewhere, Facebook or Instagram, where somebody used a fire pit ring as a wood rack. So he thought, and this is an ingenious idea, why not use a raised bed, a galvanized raised bed, normally used for gardens, right, to create a garden raised bed, but he used it as kind of weather protector inside his firewood rack frame, which I just love.
Smart.
It's
Yeah.
super cool, and you can see some of the details. It's and these raised beds are pretty common. You've got ones with rounded edges. This one has just a straight 90, which fits well with the frame, and pretty inexpensive. These things don't have a lot of rigidity on their own. So if you imagine trying to put a firewood pile just with that raised bed, it wouldn't really work. So that's where the conduit and maker pipe came in. So his frame's pretty simple. He's got 90-degree connectors in the corner, and then you can see those there. And I think he's using half inch as well with our shims, so saved a little bit on EMT conduit. And then he used the T connectors there to brace kind of in the middle. You can see some of the shims. This is a work in progress. Careful though, you don't want to get those the nuts and bolts and parts have a way of getting lost in the grass there. But yeah, and then I think this center rod might be part of the bed. Usually they
Mm.
have kind of like a support structure in the middle to keep them before you put dirt in it. And that kind of shores everything up. But yeah, there it is. It's raised off the ground with some cinder blocks, but really cool. Thanks, Mike, so much for posting that. Really cool build. Appreciate you putting that in the community. The next build we have is actually a review. Thanks so much for this review. It's a review on the T connector. You can check those out down in the bottom of the page. And this is by Venkat, saddle and T connectors 1 inch. So what Venkat did is made this really cool light, not really a truss so much as it is just an overhead mounting system for lights. And if you're trying to get the perfect studio, and it looks like that's what they're doing here is creating a studio, you need to position those lights in a certain way. And this is a suspended circular rack from the ceiling. I think it's suspended by some wire here. You can see the cabling coming down, and then you've got this circular part that was probably bent with a pipe bender, I'm imagining, and then some bracing in the middle to hang the lights on. We've got another photo here. There's a little bit of a close up. You can see that this is a wild thing. I haven't seen this before. This looks like a junction. It's doing a couple things. It's joining these two sections of the outside circle, but then it's also a mounting point for the cabling. So a lot of interesting stuff there. There's a crossover clamp here. There's another crossover clamp, and it looks like there's a through bolt as well to secure that. And that's important, right? Like if you're having something over your head, obviously make sure it's really solid. You don't want anything falling, right? Disclaimer there. But looks like there's through bolts with some washers both on the crossover clamps and then the T connectors there. Thanks for the review. We love getting those to hear you had a good experience. This next build is pretty cool. We've got a build by Paul here, and Paul Hoover posted in this community. Now I'm going to go back to his first post. His first post is where he kind of talks about the project. And now this is a home assistant robot that he is working on, and that's a rendering. You've got some pretty intense solid modeling going on here with a lot of different systems. I love it. And he chose to use MakerPipe as kind of the frame to support the outside and kind of house some of the antennas and this system here and speakers and all that kind of thing. So showed up about 3 months ago. Paul posted that. Thanks so much, Paul, for posting in the community. Really caught our eye. And then we've got an update by Paul, and he posted the examples again, but then check out the video update. This is really cool. We've got the bottom chassis, you would say, all set up, and then there's the maker pipe frame, and it's alive. Johnny Five alive. Look at that. That's so cool. So they're officially taking over. Maker pipe robots are here. We've seen a few. What was it? Surfer Jim's
Yes, Django.
Django.
Maker pipe builds fantastic steel connectors for mating.
And now Paul's getting into and George 5000 or Jorge 5000. George,
Nice.
personal assistant robot, and it's coming along fast. And you can follow on Instagram #George 5000 for continued updates. Paul, we really appreciate you posting that and keeping us updated on your project. It's so awesome to see. Let us know where we can find out more information. If you've got, obviously we'll keep tabs on the Instagram, but let us know kind of where more project information is located, because we'd love to follow along with you and check that out. Really appreciate you posting that to the community. Here we have a really cool build. This is a quick and simple solution to a common problem. So this has been posted by Jason in South Carolina, fellow state. And this is just a simple, quick solution to a common problem. So has these awesome kayaks, but wanted to keep his toolbox in his truck and not have to take those out, but also mount the kayaks, which I can definitely appreciate. And just needed something to support the kayaks, so they weren't on the tailgate, and held it up, and then you can open your tailgate and access all the gear down below. Came up with a really simple solution using Conduit and a few of our connectors, and then some off the shelf stuff, where ran a piece of conduit all the way across, and then used a T connector in the middle, some pool noodles. These are the super pool noodles up here. We've got some yoga mats on this side, right on top of the toolbox, and then goes down. It's supported kind of with one of our flanges. I don't think that's bolted in. It doesn't look like it. Just kind of looks like it's a good way to rest on the bed liner. And then the part that I really love is this solution. I think this is so neat. These are off the shelf kind of bed mounts, truck bed, not really bed mounts, rail mounts, I guess you would call them. And Jason puts links and really documented it well. Appreciate that. But here are the bed anchors that he got off Amazon. You can check those out, and they just pop into those holes on the sides of your bed on the rails, and then they pretty much have a U-bolt. So that's what he used, and we've been using U-bolts a lot of different applications just for holding down pipe in a certain location, and that's exactly what Jason did. He used those on the sides to hold that piece of pipe, which just opens up so many different options. I mean, you could have all kinds of different racks or accessories, and this looks like a super efficient way, to attach conduit to your bed.
It looks like is there like a bolt hole through the side of the conduit there with like a string or something? Or no, it's just like a
Yeah.
cotter pin.
Cotter pin, right? And he talked about that in his write up, that just to prevent any it sliding out, with any sort of vibrations, put that cotter pin, drilled a hole and put the cotter pin in the end of it. And all said, I think it was less than $20, and able to carry able to carry the kayaks. Doesn't have to take the toolbox out, and then still has access to all the gear down below for $20. How could you beat that? So really cool project. Thanks so much, Jason, for posting that. All right, here we've got one by Nick. This is a kayak roll around kayak rack. So if kayaks are great, but when you get them home and you got to store the things and move them around, they're pretty big. So you got to come up with a solution. And we've seen a lot of kayak racks and carts and all kinds of different solutions. But check this out. nice looking boats. And this is the double decker. We've seen some similar to this, I think, right, over the years.
Yeah, I think so. This one's unique because of that middle section that kind of hoisted up a little bit. A
Hmm.
lot of the ones we've seen just have the horizontal bars that it sits on, just like the bottom one does.
Oh yeah, and look at that. It kind of mirrors and falls into some geometry in the bottom of the kayak.
Yeah, it really sits in there nice.
That's neat because we've seen a lot with like PVC,
Hmm.
as runners might be a good solution. But here we've got some pipe insulation, it looks like, and you've got these two platforms, top and bottom, on just a simple frame. The frame looks super strong. You've got just a rectangular kind of box there with casters in the middle. That's a good starting point for a whole lot of different projects. And then these 45s to kind of give it some angular bracing as well. And you've got a bottom section and a top section. This looks like it's really put together well. Awesome build. Thanks so much for posting that in the community. I'm going to jump while we're on this same theme. I'm going to jump over to a build by a longtime member of the community, Kristen, and what she built is this really neat cart for not kayaks. She's got some longer boats. Think like longer rowing boats that she needs to get down to the shore. And this has been a progression over a number of years because back in November of 2020, quite a while ago, she had a few iterations of this. And I remember, check this out. And this is a picture of one of her boats too. These kind of caddies with a suspension and a few cool bends with casters. And there's a good kind of picture of her rowing boats, but she's within walking distance to the lake, and then that allows her to. Oh, this was for a rowboat as well. She had another caddy, so this is all different ways of her solving the problem of how to get her boats to the water. And this is the latest iteration, which has a lot of really neat features, and you can tell, Kristen, your building is coming along great. I mean, this is really cool. You got some nice bends in there and it's put together well. But you never believe what she used parts from. And this goes to the same old concept of reuse something else that wasn't intended. But she used parts from a baby stroller. And the wheel sets, they're from a stroller. You've got these fixed wheels and then casters, but then she also used the handle as well, which this part right here, I think, is the baby stroller part as well. So how cool is that? I mean, reusing something like that. And what's neat about it is she's got this brake. Baby strollers have kind of a brake where you lock it in place, and that's part of the functionality that she wanted on this. So she deconstructed the baby stroller and then incorporated it into her build. So that's the hinge she used for the handle, and then she used some of our telescoping clamps here so she could extend out the handle and walk beside it and then kind of put it down when it wasn't in use. Kristen, awesome job. Coming a long way. Really appreciate seeing it. And yeah, thanks for posting it to the community and being part of the community. Love it. So we've got a couple really cool builds coming up here. We've got two that are similar. Now these are boat blinds. So duck hunters, we hear from duck hunters about this time every season, and they have a unique challenge, right? Because there's all kinds of different boats that they use for their hunting, and you want to have a blind, some sort of concealment on the water. And you've got all these custom boats, all different sizes, angles, different needs, groups of people, all different kinds of things. And it's a little bit of a tricky thing to buy off the shelf. And Charles here posted he was looking into duck blinds for his old Restores Bass Tracker boat, and he saw this one by a company called Bustum Blinds. And here's a picture of kind of the commercial solution. Almost looks, I thought it was Maker Pipe right off the bat. It's just round tubing, and you can see that there's different. This is the effect to use different grasses and camouflage on the boats, and there's different windows and access that you have. That's a common thing that I've seen. And I'm by no means an expert. We've just seen this for a few seasons now. And so that's what he was going off of as something that he wanted to make custom. And he said he looked on YouTube and he tried to, came across the manufactured unit. And then he was going to he's got a friend that's a welder and fabricator. probably work something out. I hope he's a good friend. That's a lot of work to fabricate something like that. But then really cool because Charles came across Maker Pipe and had an epiphany and thinking that he could, use that. And he just goes on his post it was exactly what he was looking for, which is great, Charles. We're so excited that you found something that made your project work out. And this is his boat and the beginnings of his frames. I really like this because he posted a few in progress photos, which I love seeing, right? Not only the finished project, but actually the workspace and beautiful barn spot to work in the summer. But as he goes through and kind of transforms his boat, and you want it removable too, right? Because this is for only one part of the use of the boat, obviously. And there it is. Pup looks impressed, catching some catching some shade on a summer day. I love it. And then there's the back. So you can see it pretty I mean it's a rectangular structure, right? That would then get all the camouflage and grass. And then I think on the nose of the boat, you've got kind of these swing open gates. It looks like it swings open. Doesn't that look like to you, Jake? Can you see?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's the T method where it's just slightly loose, and then it just allows you to hinge it and swing, I believe.
Right. And you got the nose of the boat where you can get access. And then, pretty much just used T's all the way around. Here's some 45s, an adjustable angle I can kind of see. And then really went about just piecing it together. We have a couple resources because been seeing so many builds. We have a couple resources that we'll link down in the description. We did one roundup with a few different builds, so a blog. So there's a few different examples that you can see if you're interested in doing that to your boat. And then we also have another example of that. This one is by Jake posted it and Matt sent it in probably by email. But it just goes to show this is a little bit different style of a boat. And, I'm sure you can turn most any boat into something at least that has a lot of space on the inside that might be appropriate for duck hunting. And you can see that they custom made the frame again to whatever the boat needed to be. Because I imagine like you get one of these boats that, maybe hasn't had a lot of production, right? Or is a little bit older and it's going to be near impossible to find a blind structure for it. I'm sure the more popular models have off the shelf blinds that you could buy, but it's got to be like Charles had a bass tracker,
Hmm.
right? Which you've heard of before, maybe, and might be a off the shelf solution. But anyway, so also we've got this one, and it's mounted a little bit different. Instead of to the top rails, it's to the inside, and I think they used
Conduit hanger straps, I
conduit
believe.
hanger straps,
Hmm.
yeah, which are a common electrician item that you can get at any hardware store, and it's good for attaching conduit to a flat surface. And you can see how this provides a bolt hole to mount to a flat surface, and then you can attach the conduit parallel to that. Similar, two-hole straps, that kind of thing might be solutions for you. Thanks everybody for posting their builds, for visiting the community and participating. Everyone who joined us live in the chat, thanks so much. I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next time. Take
Thanks,
care.
everybody. Have a
All
good
right.
week.
All right. Take care.